Test 1, 2. 2, 2, 2. 2. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Lord said, confession good for the soul. So right now, all I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster. And shot call. To be known with them niggas letting shots off. Either that or the right hand to the top dog. Funny how we see vanity, not the lives lost. Can't be focused on a life that's hopeless. Out there pumping, not knowing the Lord will kill you for that hocus pocus. Used to roll with niggas that cook dope with weaponry. Same ones claim they love you. I had no life in jeopardy. And I know my mother wants success for me. But that G should take a girl straight to ecstasy. Remember running with bruh, even though we did the wrong thing. My life would have been a lot different if I fell upon the Rob's wing. Was too sincere for a wicked game. Shame the Lord's name. Now we afflicted with pain. All I ever wanted was to be respected by stand-up niggas. Not knowing that them handcuffs custom made the flesh. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster. I ain't lying, I was close to dying. Knew I wanted to live, but I wasn't trying. I was defiant, not knowing that this ain't how we live. This just how they design it. Cause when you in them streets, you get more endemic. They don't tell you what be on papers and no restrictions. My father said a hard head to make a soft ass. I didn't care, I wanted fear when I walked past. In the place where a black man's blood is cheap. I thank the Lord for the day I was on Lake Street. Pissing in the cup, back and forth to court. Found the DC school, I swear it felt like I cried on that fucking porch. The Lord said, my sheep, they ain't hear my voice. Asked me why I'm UPK, I told them I ain't have a choice. They said God ain't 50-50 and what's gonna come to pass. The Lord called me out the world and that's not really fast. All it was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger.
I.S.U.P.K. 53rd Annual Lord's Passover.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. This is I.S.U.P.K. down in Florida. I'm Captain of 10,000 YAHANNA. We're here to let you know 53rd Annual Lord's Passover is going to be held down here in Florida. It's going down in South Florida, Cocoa Beach.
Friday, April 15th, 2022.
The lamb, the wine, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, you understand? Good music, good weather, palm trees, the whole nine.
This is going to be glorious. Book your hotels now at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, 301 Tucker Lane, Cocoa Beach, Florida, 32926.
April 15th and the 16th. Don't just book for the 15th. Book for the 15th and the 16th.
It's going down Friday, April 15th, at the Space Coast Convention Center.
Moses told Pharaoh, we need 3 days to be able to go out into the wilderness and serve our power the way he commands. You're going to have to get that off with your boss, with your slave master. So make sure you in the building. Cocoa Beach, Florida, April 15th to 16th, 2022. It's going down. We'll see y'all there. Shalom.
144,000. I'm just trying to make 144,000. 144,000. I'm just trying to make 144,000.
All right, let's get started. Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom to all the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans living in Canada, to the four corners of the earth. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Shabrak to all the brothers, and shalom, Yahweh Shemar Al-Atham Bashim Al-Shai to all the sisters. Officer Shar Yawan under Commanding General YAHANNA. And we are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, which started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Tonight is Tuesday's night brotherhood class. You see the banner in the stream. It says hit the sign-in links. The sign-out links will be posted before the end of the class. All right. If you want to be a brother or sister in the school, make sure you hit those sign-in links so that brothers in the school can take your attendance. All right. Again, this is the Tuesday night brotherhood class. Every Tuesday night, brothers in the I.S.U.P.K are teaching brotherhood to our people being Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. Letting them know their identity, what is required of them as a Black, Hispanic, or Native American man or woman, what the Most High requires of them, what love is, what brotherhood is. All right. What love is, what brotherhood is. Shalom, Brak, Yalla, Yabashim, Shabrak, all right. Again, teaching our brothers and sisters what brotherhood is. Brotherhood being synonymous with sisterhood. Teaching our people how to love each other. Right. Let's give a quick shout out to Officer 50 Brak Ya'Allah. All right. The brother just got his rank raised. Most High in Christ. All right. Congratulations, Ark. Well deserved. All right. Christ told us to build this kingdom, right? Christ said that this kingdom doesn't come with observation, right? But by putting our brick in, right? By putting our brick in and by loving our people. This is what this class is about. Officer Barack Ya'Allah is definitely showing a brother who loves his people, a brother who's willing to sacrifice everything that he has for his people, which is very foreign to the Christian church. All right. If you could, Barack Ya'Allah, let's jump right into some scriptures. I got a couple articles today, a couple of videos. We'll see how far we get. All right. Again, make sure you hit those sign-in links. There's also a link in the chat for the Passover. The Lord's 53rd Passover is coming up. All right. But there is a link that is posted in the comments. If you're on Facebook or YouTube watching it live, you should see that in the comments. Hit that link. Pay your Passover fees. Get a hold of your camp leader. All right. If you're not in the school, just email. You can send an email to us. You can check out the description on the live page. Should be isupkcanada@gmail.com. Just contact a brother in the school and find out more information about the Passover. All right. So let's jump right into some scripture. Barack Ya'Allah, if you could grab Genesis 20. Genesis 20, you can start at verse 1. All right, we're gonna go through a quick story in the Old Testament, a story about Abraham, and then we'll get into some of these articles that we have. All right. But let me jump there. Barack Ya'Allah, if you could, Genesis 20 and verse 1, whenever you got it.
This is Genesis chapter 20, verse 1. And Abraham journeyed from thence toward the south country, and dwelled between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar.
Con. So Abraham is on a journey, right? Abraham's trying to get to the Holy Land. Abraham's trying to get to that good land, and he's taking a journey right now. He's journeying through Gerar. Gerar is a place right near Egypt. Slovakia. Slovakia. So we're just 21, but right. So Gerar is a place that is right near Egypt. All right, and Abraham's taking a journey through this place. Keep reading.
Verse 2. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, She is my sister.
Con. And so Abraham is in this place. He's in Gerar. He meets with a king, and somebody is asking about who this woman that is with Abraham, and he says, "This is my sister." Right? Abraham said, "Sarah, who was his wife, she is my sister." Keep reading.
And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah.
Con. So now, as they're traveling through Gerar, right? Abraham says to the people, says to the king, they're looking at this woman, Sarah. They're looking at a beautiful daughter of Zion, like everybody on earth does. They see this fine black Hispanic and Native American woman walking, just looking beautiful as could be. Everybody wants her. Everybody wants to know who she is, what she's about. And so they come up to Abraham asking, who is this woman? And Abraham says, she is my sister, right? He lied and said, she is my sister, even though that this was his wife, right? And so we see what happens here is that the king says, oh, she's your sister. Let me take this woman, right? Let me take this woman with me. Now, the reason we're reading through this story is because there's a spirit behind this story, all right? There's a spirit behind this story, and there is a lot of people who read this verse and are going to use this for evil. There's a lot of cowards out there who are going to read this verse and use this verse to be as an excuse for their sin. They're going to look at this and say, oh, well, you see, Abraham is in another land. He's in an evil place. He's in a place that isn't his home. And Abraham's just trying to live. Abraham's just trying to get by. Abraham's just trying to get to the next day. And he's doing what he has to do. No man in the I.S.U.P.K is going to ever be taught to do something like this. And what it is being a coward. Keep reading.
Verse 3. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, Behold, thou art but a dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife.
Gone. So this king, right, he takes this woman, he gives money to Abraham, gives whatever he has, everything he has to get this woman. He takes this woman, Sarah, and he's getting ready to lay down with this sister, right? He's looking to get laid. He's looking to have sex, looking to take this woman for his wife. And the Most High comes to this king in a dream and says, if you touch her, you are going to die. You touch this woman, I am going to kill you. Which, just a side note, is a very foreign concept to all these different Christian pastors. I don't know any Christian pastor going around telling people that this is who the God of the Bible is. I don't know any Christian pastor saying that God is some kind of mass murder, killer, gangster, right? Hard, tough man. Everybody has this image of the Most High as he is some soft, loving, hugs and kisses, and just flowery God. You understand? Shalom, Officer Adia, Yabashim Shabakata.
Shalom, Adawan Yabashim Shabakata.
Shalom, Akim, Yahweh Shabbat.
God, Most High in Christ. We're just in Genesis chapter 20 and verse 3 right now.
Go ahead, please. Don't mind me.
Right? Come, sir. So, no Christian pastor is going around teaching people that the Most High is just going to take a man's life for doing something wrong like this. But the Most High came to Abimelech in a dream and said, I am going to kill you if you touch this man's wife. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 4. For Abimelech had not come near her. And he said, Lord, wilt thou slay also a righteous nation?
Right. So Abimelech, he wakes up and he is giving thanks to the Most High for this dream. He is thanking the Most High, saying, thank you for coming to me in this dream, letting me know not to touch this woman. Because if I did touch this woman, something very bad would have happened to me. Right? He's thanking the Most High, saying, thank you for this dream. Right? Where are we at? Verse 4. But Abimelech had come not near her, and he said, Lord, wilt thou also slay a righteous nation? Right? Not only is he giving thanks to the Most High for this dream, but now he's trying to say, look, I didn't touch this woman. Right? I woke up, I had this dream. I was shown that my life was going to be taken if I touched this woman. So now he's pleading with the Most High, saying, thank you for this dream. I didn't touch her. Don't do nothing to me. Right? I didn't lay down with her. I didn't sleep with her. This is another man's wife. Like, are you going to still do something to me? Right? Keep reading.
Verse 5. Said he not unto me, she is my sister. And she herself said, he is my brother.
Right. Oh, keep reading. Finish out the verse.
In the integrity of my heart and innocency of my hands have I done this.
Right. So Abimelech was saying, like, Abraham said that this is my sister. Right? Please don't take my life. I didn't touch her. I was from the understanding that this was another man, that this wasn't Abraham's wife. Right? I got this dream. I got this warning. I didn't touch this sister. Please just spare my life. Right? Jump down to verse 9.
Genesis chapter 20, verse 9. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said unto him, what hast thou done unto us? And what have I offended thee, that thou hast brought on me, and on my kingdom a great sin? Thou hast done deeds unto me that ought not to be done.
Come. Right? So this is the story of what took place, right? And Abimelech wakes up, he's like, I had this dream. The Most High showed me what not to do. The Most High said he was going to take my life. I didn't know that this was a man's wife, right? And so Abimelech is just pleading, saying, please don't take my life. Please leave me alone. Just take this woman back. Abraham lied to me. Sarah lied to me. Sarah said that this is my brother. Abraham lied, said this is my wife, right? And so Abimelech's just saying, just take this woman back. Leave me alone, right? Jumping down to verse 10, it says, and Abimelech said unto Abraham, what sawest thou that thou hast done this thing? So Abimelech asked Abraham, why would you do this to me? Right? Why would you tell me that this is your sister? Why would you get me in trouble with the Most High, the God that slaughtered the Egyptians? The God that saved the children of Israel from the Egyptians. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 10. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, What sawest thou, that thou hast done this thing?
Keep reading.
Verse 11. And Abraham said, Because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they
Right.
will slay me for my wife's sake.
So this is Abraham's answer to Abimelech. Right? And these stories that are written, what does Paul say? These stories that are written aforetime were written for our learning. Like, we read through these stories so that we can learn and grow as brothers and sisters. Right? Abraham's answer right here. Abraham said, read verse 11 one more time.
Genesis chapter 20, verse 11. And Abraham said, Because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place.
Right. So Abraham's answer was a coward's answer, was a coward's response. Abraham said, because this place is an evil place. This is why I said what I said. I was scared for my life. I was scared for Sarah. I was worried about making it through the next day. Worried about trying to get to this Holy Land. Trying to get to where I was going. Abraham was just thinking about himself. And his response was that surely the fear of God is not in this place. And they will slay me for my wife's sake. You read the book of Maccabees, you had righteous brothers and sisters stand up and say, I'd rather die than eat pork. That's the kind of spirit that we're supposed to be in. You got what that looks like today is you got brothers walking around saying, well, I'm not in the Holy Land. I'm not in Jerusalem. I'm not in a righteous place. So I don't have to keep the Passover. I got to shave my beard so that my boss doesn't fire me. I can't obey my God because this place is an unrighteous place. And that's the spirit of a coward. You got brothers going around selling dope, selling drugs, so that they can go and buy their wife so-and-so, pay for their kids to be a part of this sports club, get their kids the latest gift, the latest PlayStation come Christmas. The amount of things that a brother will do, the amount of unrighteous things that a brother will do so that he can pay his rent, pay his cell phone bill, pay a car bill, buy himself some new clothes. That is the spirit of a coward. The spirit of an unrighteous man. The spirit of a selfish man. It's not the spirit of brotherhood. You understand? In the I.S.U.P.K, we got to understand that the fearful will not inherit the kingdom of God. Abraham's response right there, Abraham's response was a coward's response. What Abraham did was cowardly. That's not to say that he wasn't a good brother. That's just to say in that moment, he messed up. He did something he shouldn't have done. And that's something that we got to learn from. You understand? So I was saying earlier, I got a lot of articles we're going to get into. a lot of articles, a couple of videos. We'll see how far we get, see how much we share. But this is something that we got to pay attention to how we move. We got to understand that we're in this land that we're in. We're in the hell that we're in. We're in an unrighteous land where the fear of God doesn't exist because of how we act. Because we don't keep the Passover. Because we shave our beards and act like the Egyptians. Because we sell drugs. Because we throw our women away. The reason we live in this hell is because of how we act. Because of the things that we do. And we're not going to get in the kingdom acting this way. Disobeying the laws of God. Being a drug dealer. Sleeping with other brothers' wives. We're not going to get the kingdom not keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. Now, so I got this first article. We're going to let me share this. This is an article on cannabis, some of the effects of cannabis. We see in, I believe it was 2018. Correct me if I'm wrong, Barack Yalla. 2018, Canada says weed is legal. Canada legalizes weed, says drugs are legal. This drug is legal. And you had, I don't know about out in Montreal, but I know people in Toronto were going crazy. I remember the first day of work, Salakia. I remember going to work and I didn't realize that Canada had just legalized weed. And every man on my job site in construction was high out of their mind. I remember it hit like it was 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm in construction, so I got my measuring tape out. I'm doing some carpentry work, trying to take some numbers, right? Figuring out how long these studs are that I need to cut. And I'm telling this apprentice, I'm giving this apprentice some instructions. Like, these are the measurements, these are the cuts, this and that. And I look at him and he's just staring at me sideways with damn near drool coming out his mouth. And it had me thinking, it's like 10 o'clock, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with everybody today? Why is everybody just so laid back, this and that? Nobody's working. Everybody's just kind of moping around. And then I'm talking to this one guy who walks by, and he asked me, he's like, hey, do you want some gummy bears? Do you want some gummies? And I'm like, what? And it clicked in my head that, oh, this is or weed just got legalized last night. And everybody on my job site is high. And I say that to say, because you see people who smoke weed, they are so relaxed. They're in this state of tranquility. They're in this state of being pacified. They're not worried about all the things going on around them. They're not worried about the drama going on at home. They're not worried about their next meeting and their next job appointment and this and that. They're just walking through life pacified. Not worried about a damn thing. And this is destroying Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. There's a reserve about 45 minutes from my house. And the minute I get to the reserve, the first thing you see is the smoke shop and the liquor store. Every ghetto you go to, you got the beer store, liquor store, right at the corner of every ghetto. And then Canada goes and legalizes weed, and they just further pacify our people. But nobody talks about all the side effects of cannabis. So here's a quick article. We're going to read a little bit about it. This was an article taken from Yale. This was a study done at Yale University. It says the growing legalization of cannabis across the United States, in addition to the frequent use of cannabis by individuals with psychosis, has led to many questions and concerns about the impacts. The following is a summary of the latest research findings regarding the link between cannabis and psychosis. Quick background on what this psychosis is. There was actually, and I got an article we'll read on that. There was a story about a man over in China who went on some killing spree because he was high. He had this temporary psychosis, ended up murdering some people. And the Chinese government, they're well aware of this state of psychosis from smoking weed. And so reason I'm talking about this one thing is because there was an incident like that also in Canada, over in Edmonton. The same year, it happened just before they legalized cannabis in Canada. Right? So some of the side effects you have, studies have shown that THC in cannabis can cause short-term psychosis until the drug is metabolized in the body. If exposed to cannabis in adolescence, research shows individuals are 2 to 4 times more likely to develop a schizophrenia spectrum disorder than if you were not exposed. Not everyone who uses cannabis develops psychosis, and not everyone with a psychotic disorder was exposed to cannabis. Consider avoiding or delaying use of cannabis until after the age of typical expression, onset of the illness, of at least 25 years of age. Age of expression can range from 16 to 35 years old. Those initially diagnosed with a cannabis-induced psychosis have greater rates of developing schizophrenia over the long term. Frequent and amount, time of exposure, during of exposure, and potency of cannabis all impact amount of risk for psychosis associated with cannabis. And on and on and on. If you want more information on what this psychosis is, you can just type it in on Google, cannabis psychosis. You'll find tons of articles. Not going to read through the whole thing, but this is actually an issue. This is a problem of smoking weed. This is something that is very common. A lot of brothers and sisters have family who are schizophrenic. It's very common in our community. It's very common, and it's a curse from the Most High. We mess around with things we're not supposed to. If we overindulge in things, right? We drink too much alcohol. There's no law in the Bible that says how much alcohol you can drink. But it does say don't be a drunkard. There's a point or there's a limit of how much alcohol you can take in. Just like there's a point of how much weed you can smoke, of how much THC you can intake. You understand? let's drop that. Run through this quick article.
Salakia, please, if I may.
Come on, sir.
Salakia, I was just reading in the while you mentioned it with the psychosis and the cannabis, right? I'm reading to in the article with from the Psychiatric Times, right? They say as more countries and state approve legalization and marijuana becomes more accessible, CIP and other cannabis related disorders are expected to rise, to increase.
Right.
So you understand? So we seen the oppressor like destroying everybody out there. And the thing is, like, even the old school folk, they will tell you like the new cannabis they have right now, you understand, the THC level is like, you understand, like phenomenal, like, you understand, like one puff and then it knocks them out, you understand? So why would they do this? Why would they, you understand, like purposely like really drugging people, you understand? That proved the oppressor, the devil the Bible speak of, man.
Concert. Damn right. And Salaki, if I could add on, Officer Zabadia, he had brought out something heavy a couple months back, where he was saying the chief of police in Toronto, I think that he had actually made chief of police because of how many arrests he had, or how many arrests or tickets he had given out and stuff like that, regarding incarcerating people over drugs, locking people up over selling drugs, doing drugs. And then he actually turned around and he's now the I forget what his title is, but he works for Justin Trudeau. He's one of his like
the biggest drug. Salaga, he's the biggest drug dealer now.
That's exactly it. So he went from locking people up to being the biggest drug dealer in Canada. and if you even just look at the stats on how much the increase in sales off of cannabis has been each year, I think I just read something earlier about the increase in growth of people who use cannabis went up 41% over 1 year. And so just like Officer Adia said, like, this oppressor is the goddamn devil the Bible speaks of. He is the biggest drug dealer on the earth.
Right.
And he is absolutely destroying our people. Right? So I'm going to go through this one article, try to get through it quick. I got a lot of articles I want to bring out. This was, it's lucky, not this one. This was a story of the psychosis that happened in Edmonton. Try to skim through this fast just to get to the main points. This is an article written in the Edmonton Journal. It says a man who killed his mom in cannabis-induced psychosis was sentenced to 45 months. It says an Edmonton man who stabbed his mother to death in a cannabis-induced psychosis was sentenced to 3 years and 9 months in jail, with credit for time already served in jail. Jason Glenn Dickout has about 10 months left before he will be released, followed by three years of probation. He says, I miss you dearly, Mom. Every day I miss your smile, your energy, your love. Nothing I say seems to make any difference now. It's too late. The harm I caused cannot be undone. I'm going to jump down to the story of what happened. So this is a story that took place. It says, I've never, ever heard of a case where some sort of cannabis product tripped somebody out into psychosis, and that resulted in the death of a person. Nor could we find any reported case in Canada where that had happened. said defense attorney Graham Johnson. Some kind of psychotic break. Dickout pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of manslaughter after he admitted killing his mother. Salaki, let me jump down to where the story was. It says, according to an agreed statement of facts, Dickout was visiting family for the Easter weekend. He and his sister smoked two inhalations of dried marijuana, and later he began to act strangely. His sister would later say he was screaming like someone experiencing night terrors, making animal noises and talking nonsensically. To calm him down, she offered him some of her prescribed cannabis oil preparation, and Jason consumed about 1 milliliter. So this man is tripping out in his house, having some psychotic break, and his sister, who he smoked weed with earlier, decided to give him more weed. And he went on to take this weed, and this is the story of what goes on that night. It says he attacked his mother in the kitchen sometime after midnight. His sister fled the home and called police. Jason was screaming unintelligibly and laughing and needed to be sedated before EMS crews could transport him to hospital. His mother, Kathy, had been stabbed at least 6 times, including in her neck. And that is one story of cannabis psychosis.
Salaki, Adawan,
Khan, go ahead.
if I may. That was probably a psychosis, but he probably also wanted to kill his mom for an unrelated reason, right? I have a precept for that,
Khan, go ahead.
which is John 8:44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and will not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. So saying that he's really sorry for killing his mom, he probably is a liar. I don't want. Probably the weed had something to do with it. Probably just woke up the spirit in him, but he wanted to kill his mom. I don't want.
Khan, absolutely. Not only is he a liar, but he was a killer. He's a murderer from the beginning.
Kind of what kind?
Right? That spirit that he has in him, like what you're saying is absolutely right. Because it's like a lot of people they abuse drugs so that they can do the things they want to do.
Kind of what
Like
kind?
brothers are getting ready to go rob a place. What do? They smoke some weed. Somebody doesn't have enough courage to go talk to a woman. They go smoke some weed. Right? Somebody gonna go out and do a murder, right? They go and smoke some weed. Right? They do that to help them get through what's really in their heart. Like you were saying. But yeah, absolutely. What you were saying is so right and true. And Salaki, I had, when I was reading through this story, it's funny that you brought up that verse, because I saw his name. I was reading through his name. His name's Dickout. And I was saying, Salaki, he probably murdered his mom for giving him that name. Salaki. But yeah, absolutely. And quick shout out to the chat. Shalom Kala. Yahweh Shemar Latham Bashim Shai. Shalom the officers of Badia. Yahweh Bashim Shai Barakatha. Khan. So this story absolutely crazy. And it's actually happened a couple times. But they're not going to tell you these things. Right? They tell you cannabis is good. Cannabis has all these different healing effects. It's good for you. You understand? And they twist what the Most High created for us, right? The Most High tells us that, what does it say in the Apocrypha? It says to honor the physician. And then you jump down a couple verses. Salaki, let me bring that verse out real quick. If you could, Officer Adia, could you find that verse for me? It says to honor the physician, and then if you jump a verse or two down, it talks about medicine being used for healing. Something about the medicine he has is used for healing. Salakia. Right? But this oppressor, he sits here and he tells you, he sits here and locks all our brothers and sisters up. Every Black, Hispanic, and Native American man sitting in a jail cell over drugs. And then he turns around and legalizes it and starts making money and profiting off of it. This oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. Putting drugs in our community, pacifying our people. You understand? Twisting what the Most High made.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 1.
Let me jump there with you. Ecclesiasticus chapter 38 and 1. It says, honor a physician with the honor due unto him. For the Lord hath created him. You jump down to verse 4, it says, the Lord hath created medicines out of the earth. Right? If you could, Barak Allah, could you hold Ezekiel 47 and 12? Right? It says, Ecclesiasticus 38 and 4 says, the Lord hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor him. Right? You look at cannabis, right? You look at the cannabis leaf. It has different medicinal properties to it. Right? Even you look at cocaine and crack taken from the cocoa plant. Right? That cocoa plant has what do they use it in medical? I think they use it for anesthetics. They use it for different pain reliefs. You understand? It says the Lord has created medicines out of the earth. These different plants, these different herbs, they're here to heal us. They're here for medicine. They're here to help us. These things are good for us. But when we turn around and start extracting different things from the cocoa plant and start sniffing it up our nose, when we start taking cannabis and start smoking it, inhaling all that smoke, if you look up the effects of cancer. People who smoke tobacco, it's very known that they even put it on the packages. They say this will cause cancer. Smoking will cause cancer with a big X on it. Well, there's a fact that when you smoke marijuana, it actually has 4 times more the amount of tar than a cigarette does. These are things that we smoke that destroy our bodies. These are things that affect us. You understand? The Most High created these medicines out of this earth so that it could heal us. Go ahead and read that verse when you got it, Barak Allah.
Khan. Ezekiel chapter 47, verse 12. And by the river upon the bank thereof on this side and on that side shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit, according to his months, because their waters they issued out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the
There you
leaf
go.
thereof for medicine.
And the leaves for what?
For medicine.
For medicine. The Most High created these leaves, these herbs for medicine. Right? They're here to heal us. The Most High didn't put these leaves here for you so that you could go and stab your mother in the neck 6 times. So that you would become some kind of schizophrenic. These leaves are here to heal you. You understand? And we should honor the physician for that. These different medicinal things, they're here to heal us. That's a good thing. But when we turn around and turn something and misuse it for what it was meant for, that's when we start destroying this earth. That's when we start committing sin. You understand? The Most High created the pig. The pig has a purpose. It goes around, it cleans the earth. But it's not for you to eat. It's not for you to digest, to put in your stomach and start harming yourself. You understand? Everything has its proper place on the earth, and we got to honor that. You understand? Like Officer Zabadia says, when you turn around and smoke cannabis, the good part of the plant dies. You understand? We can't be misusing these drugs to get high. We can't be walking around drug addicts just trying to forget all the pain that's in our lives, all the suffering that's in our lives. You understand? So that was at the end of the article. Yeah, Salaki, that was the end of the article. But it's just showing that this psychosis thing is a very real thing. It's a very real thing. And I don't hear anybody in Canada talking about it. I don't hear anybody saying now that the Canadian government has legalized weed. You understand that now we got to worry about smoking too much. And such an evil thing is a video that I saw, or I had seen yesterday, is that the stereotype that they put on our people is so disgusting. The way they use these celebrities, these different rappers and musicians, different actors, to put them out in the media and portray us in a certain way. Like you let Tyler Perry dress up like a woman, and all of a sudden he's the most famous man on earth. You understand? You take one of these rappers and I heard a rapper saying it was such a heavy bar. He said the only way I become famous is if I start rapping about drugs. Start rapping about who I killed, who I murdered, whose life I took. And these are the things that we teach our children. These are the things that we shove down the throat of our people, of who we are, how we act, what's popular, what's cool. And it's destroying our people, man. This was an interview from, I'm not exactly sure, it's lucky, Adawan and Ak. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this podcast. I'm not sure if it's a podcast or if it's a show that Snoop Dogg has, but he was doing an interview with Chief Keef. Go ahead and play that.
God.
Go on.
About being from Chicago. Food, the city, just
Jump forward to the part I'm looking for.
Shit, money. Ass or titties? Ass.
Good grammar and spelling are important.
But if you want to write essays that inspire,
Titties.
Ass.
What are your favorite pair of shoes of all time?
F was one.
How many blunts do you smoke in a day?
I smoke 2 ounces. I smoke ounces. Like 2 ounces a day.
But if you had to put it in a ratio of blunts, like see how I brought 4 blunts out here and we smoked one and then I'm smoking another, that's 2.
So look. Look. An ounce for me in blunts is like a whole pack of wood, so that's 5 blunts.
You smoke a whole fucking ounce with 5 blunts?
If I had my assistant here, he's supposed to came here. If I had him, he'd be able to show you
slow
right now.
down, brother. You could get 10 out of that, man.
But I had 2 ounces.
I love it. I fucking love it. What's the worst job you've ever had?
Right, Salakia. Brock, if you could grab that verse I love, Isaiah. You could pull up in Isaiah. I think it's chapter 18. Woe to them that call evil good and good evil.
Karawakan.
Right. Because Salakia, this is how they show our people. And this is the result of oppression. The result of children following in the footsteps of their fathers. Something General Mahyman said that was so heavy was that all of us that are here and alive today, we're the children of the people who said, yes, Massa. We're the children of the people who didn't fight. We're the children of the people who didn't jump off the boat and fight for their freedom. We're the children of the people who didn't try to run off that plantation and get their freedom. We're the children of the people that said, yes, Massa. Okay, Massa. We're the children of the people who rolled up that blunt and smoked that weed and just pacified ourselves. Tried to deal with whatever the things that we saw around us. We didn't fight for our freedom. We didn't go to war against our oppressor. And since 1969, brothers in the I.S.U.P.K, we've been raising brothers up to go against that. To break that spirit of just being effeminate, being cowards, being docile. We're raising up men of war. Raising up men who don't forget George Floyd. Right? Who don't forget Sandra Bland. Don't forget all the atrocities that's happened to our people. Black Lives Matter, I was waiting for them to shut down that thing on George Floyd. I think, Salakia, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, Black Lives Matter maybe made it all of maybe 2-3 months chanting George Floyd, justice for George Floyd. And then when I forget his name, the man that killed it, what was his name? Salakia. Chauvin, Derek Chauvin. When his case came up the following year, I think I saw Black Lives Matter pop up again for another week or so. And that was it. They're not doing nothing to fight for our people. I've heard General YAHANNA talk about the same brother that was murdered 10 years ago. Letting blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans know that there will be justice for Trayvon Martin. There'll be justice for every black, Hispanic, and Native American man and woman. Where is Black Lives Matter movement today? Where are the people that are standing up and fighting for our people today? Only place you find that is in the I.S.U.P.K. You understand? I saw this video just yesterday, and I was thinking, God damn. Everywhere we look, we got to see our people in this light. And you got this sellout Snoop Dogg just sitting there laughing like this is a good thing. Like, it's dope that you smoke all that goddamn weed every day. That it's a good thing for us to be drug addicts. You understand? I was just watching this brother, and I'm like, Chief Keef, I was just watching him, and I'm saying, good night. I could just see the demons on this brother. Could only imagine all the hurt and pain that this brother is trying to suppress. To be at the point where he has to smoke 2 ounces every day. It's like he said 2 ounces. Did he say 2 ounces or 1 ounce every day?
Like he said 2 out of 1.
He said 2 ounces every day. Good night. Good night. Go ahead and read that verse when you got it, bro, Cal.
This is Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil.
Death and destruction to them that call evil good and good evil. Being a drug addict is a wicked, disgusting thing. Being a drug dealer is a wicked, disgusting thing. And the Most High will not be with you if you're out here selling drugs to his people. Selling drugs to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Just out here destroying people's families. You understand? I can't name how many families I know that were destroyed from drugs. So and so broke up because he couldn't get over his crack addiction. So and so doesn't know their father because he couldn't get off this drug addiction. So and so doesn't know his father because he was constantly out selling dope, trying to hide his life from his kids. That's such a common thing in our community. And we can't be perpetuating this thing for our people. You understand? So some of the saddest stories I know, it always has to do with drugs. People locked up, people in jail. I knew this one brother. He was in jail. He was in jail for drugs. He was in jail for drugs, and then he gets out of jail, and he gave his wife some money to hide while he was in jail. Gets out, looks for his wife, says, "Where's my money?" Shoots her in the head, takes her life, turns around, puts the gun to his head, takes his life, leaves a 1-year-old baby just crying in the crib. All over this garbage that the Canadian government now says is legal. These brothers are sitting there locked up over cannabis, over selling dope, and then the Canadian government turns around and says it's legal. You understand? Canada is hell for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This is hell for every black, Hispanic, and Native American. We got to stop giving our love to this oppressor. We got to stop following the ways of our oppressor.
So, like a
Con.
priest, if I may add, black people will say boycott this. That's a lot. Yeah. Black people will say boycott this, boycott that, except for the weed.
Right. Damn right, sir. And it's shown. This isn't something that should be hidden. Everybody knows the destructions that these drugs cause in our community. Slaki, read that again, bro, y'all.
Khan. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil.
Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. You understand? Being a drug dealer is an evil thing. Being a drug addict is an evil thing. Can you grab Revelations 21 and verse 7, Baba Kasha?
Khan.
Not only are these things evil, but making an excuse as to why it's okay to be a drug addict, why it's okay to be a dope dealer, why it's okay to be a drug dealer. These things are destroying our people, man. Let me get there with you. Revelations 21 and verse 7, Baba Kasha.
In the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 7. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son.
He that overcometh shall inherit all things. You understand? To overcome something is to subdue it. To overcome is to conquer it. To overcometh is to get the victory. To win. Not to be defeated. That angel in Ezra told the children of Israel that life is about war. This is the condition of the battle that all men must face. We got to go to war. Got to go to war against our flesh. Got to go to war against the things that wants to disobey the Most High. And we got to win. You understand? We got to win, because if we don't win, we are not going to inherit anything. We're not going to inherit the kingdom if we're not keeping the Passover. We're not going to inherit the kingdom if we're not keeping the high holy days. We're not going to inherit the kingdom if we're selling drugs, being drug addicts, sleeping with other brothers' wives. We got to overcome these things. Keep reading.
Verse 8. Be the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers.
And sorcerers. You understand? You can't be a coward. You can't be unbelieving. You understand? You can't be afraid of every damn thing. Afraid of where you're going to get your next paycheck. Afraid of how you're going to pay for your kid to get in school. Afraid of what your rib's going to say if you don't buy her so-and-so gift. You understand? If you're walking around being a damn coward, you will never get the kingdom. Walking around unbelieving. You saw what Abraham said. Abraham said, "This is my sister." He was afraid. In that moment, he was a coward. He did something that no black, Hispanic, or Native American man should ever do. Abraham was ready to let another man sleep with his wife just so that he could live. That's an evil thing, man. How many people are going to go out and sell drugs just so that they can survive in this kingdom? That's an evil thing, man. You can't be a coward and get the kingdom of God. You can't be unbelieving. It says in the book of Psalms, Most High says, he who dwells under the shadow of the Almighty. You understand? You want the protection of God? You got to have some faith, man. If Abraham understood that God was going to kill Abimelech, God will kill anybody for trying to sleep with his wife. Abraham didn't have to say, this is my sister. Abraham could have said, this is my wife. And anybody who tried to touch Sarah, the Most High would have took their life.
Khan.
You understand? We can't be out here making excuses to sin. The Most High says, I know every hair on your head. Don't I feed all the birds, all the fowls of the earth? What makes you think I won't feed you? What makes you think I won't bless everything that your hand touches if you don't obey me? You understand? You don't got to be worried about where money's going to come from, where food's going to come from, where our rent's going to come from. Pay your goddamn tithes. Pay your 10%. Do what the Most High says. These tithes are for your people. These tithes are for your family, for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, to fill the storehouses so that we can take care of each other. We're not going to get the kingdom being cowards. We're not going to get the kingdom being unbelievers. We're not going to get the kingdom being sorcerers, drug dealers. Keep reading.
And idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
Come on. You got to do something, Christian, if you want to get the kingdom of heaven. There are rules that you have to follow, Christians, if you want to get the kingdom of heaven. Don't listen to that pastor who's telling you the laws are done away with. That grace is going to get you in the kingdom. You got a short time to get yourself together. Paul said it's high time for you to wake up. Because the Most High is going to destroy this place. Most High is going to burn this place with fire and brimstone. Just like he did Sodom and Gomorrah. You understand? There are rules that we have to follow. And all these rules are about brotherhood. Selling drugs to our people is just destroying our families. Brothers should be standing up, ready to go to war against all these oppressors that are out trying to destroy us. Don't help another man get high. Don't help another man pacify all his anger, all his aggression. Proverbs said, a brother is built for adversity, born for adversity. Should be raising brothers up so that they can go to war with us. We need each other to get out of this place. We need each other to get the kingdom. All right. Let's drop that. Can you grab Exodus chapter 22, verse 18, Baba Kasha?
Khan.
Yeah, understand. Let's drop that up. Yeah, let's jump to Exodus chapter 22, verse 18.
Is the book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
Come. This is in our law. These laws are about brotherhood. These laws were given to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans so that they could treat one another good, so that they could love one another, so that they could live together in peace and unity, not destroying the land, not defiling the land, but having a strong nation. It says in Deuteronomy that if we would keep these laws, Salakia, paraphrase, and it says, we were to keep these laws. This is our wisdom in the sight of the nations. Meaning when these other nations would look at blacks, Hispanics, and Native American obeying these laws, not being drug dealers, not being witches, but these other nations would look at us like, wow, these are wise people. The way they move, the way they act, the way they interact with each other. We should follow them. We can learn from them. They use the cocoa plant so that they can heal each other. When they're suffering with these different pains, they can use these plants to heal each other. This is a good thing. This is a wise thing. Salaki, I remember I was reading something on was that the cocoa plant? I think it was the cocoa plant. And they said that the Mayans were using it some 3,000 years ago when they would have toothaches. That they would take the leaf. I think it said that they would take the leaf and stick it between their cheek and their teeth so that they could numb the pain.
Yes, Salakia.
Khan, go ahead.
If I may, in high altitude places like Ecuador, when you go into the mountains and Peru,
Khan.
they chew on the coca plant for altitude sickness.
Right. Khan, absolutely. I had read through that too. Right? The Most High created these plants for medicinal purposes. And if blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans would use this book and follow it, would keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, these other nations would learn from us. They would see how we're moving, how we deal with each other. And they would look at us as wise. All right. Raquel, if you could grab Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 17.
Khan.
All right. Most High said, I do not suffer a witch to live. Don't be out here, black, Hispanic, or Native American, out here dealing drugs. It says in the book of Psalms that I showed my statutes and my judgments to Israel. I have not dealt so with any other nation. You're out here being a drug dealer. The Most High will judge you for that. You're out here smoking 2 ounces of weed every day, the Most High will judge you for that. That's why Christ said, choose life. Choose life. Keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. You go around sinning, you are going to die. You're walking around a witch, a drug dealer, you are going to die. It is going to happen. Read.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 17. For the very true beginning of her is the desire of discipline, and the care of discipline is love.
Calm. And this wisdom that these other nations would see. You want to obtain this wisdom, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man? You got to love discipline. Right? Read that verse again.
Kanawakan. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 17. For the very true beginning of her is the desire of discipline.
Khan. The very true beginning of her. Who is the her? It's wisdom. What is wisdom? These laws, statutes, and commandments. These rules, these guidelines that are given to us from the Most High. You want to be wise? You got to learn to follow order. You got to learn to say, sir, yes, sir. When your dad tells you don't put your hand on the stove, you say, sir, yes, sir. So that you can grow up and teach your children. Don't touch that. That's hot. That'll burn you. Listen to what I say. Don't learn evil. Just obey me. Don't stick that fork in the socket. Don't go running out in the middle of the road. Don't eat pork. It's poison. Don't smoke weed. It's poison. Don't sell drugs. Somebody is going to kill you. We got to learn to follow order. And we got to be in love with it. You understand? Just like you're coming out of high school and you're thinking about, well, what school do I want to go to? Or what trade do I want to get into? What's something that I can learn to make myself some money? What skill can I learn? What do? You go to school. You read books. You listen to somebody who knows better. You understand? Shoot, you're a drug dealer. You want to be good at selling drugs? How do you learn to sell drugs? You listen to the person that is selling drugs. You listen to somebody who understands the game. They tell you what to do and what not to do. And you say, sir, yes, sir. That's how you learn stuff in life. You listen. You obey. You learn from somebody who knows more than you. The love of discipline is the beginning of wisdom. You want to be wise. You want to know something. Learn to follow order. All right. Let's drop that. I got one more. We have a little time left. We got one more video I'll share. Brock, y'all, if you could hold Matthew 16 and verse 25.
Kanawakan.
It was something I felt. I thought, this is crazy. This is what your Christian pastor is teaching you. Most High says the love of wisdom or the love of discipline is the beginning of wisdom. This is what your Christian pastor is teaching. And Salakia, for all the videos, we've shared, I.S.U.P.K, we do not own the rights to any of these videos. We're just sharing these videos for teaching purposes. The articles that we're sharing and reading, these are not our articles. We're just reading through them for teaching purposes. All right, this video right here is not our video. We're just sharing it for teaching purposes. We do not own the rights to this video. But this is what your Christian pastor is going around teaching. All right, this is from Creflo Dollar.
Now, for some, it may be a little confusion because in the King James it says the wages of sin is death. And yet in the Mirror Bible it says the reward of the law is death. Well, how do you hook that together? Well, first of all, understand the devil is not trying to get you to sin. He's trying to get you to keep the law. Because
Salakia. I had to rewind this like 10 times to hear what he was saying. Let me play that back one more time.
he can get you to keep. Well, how do you hook that together? Well, first of all, understand the devil is not trying to get you to sin.
He said the devil is not trying to get you to sin.
He's just trying to get you to keep the law.
He is trying to get you to keep the law. This Christian pastor said the devil is trying to get you to keep the law. The devil wants you to stop being a drug dealer. The devil wants you to be a drug addict. Or it's like the devil wants you not to be a drug addict. The devil doesn't want you sleeping with other brothers' wives. The devil wants you to keep the law. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we got to run far from the Christian church. The stuff they teach is insanity. You understand?
So, Salakia, please, if I may add,
Come on, sir.
like, if I may add, like this Sunday on ISUPK 80, right? We had a class with Officer Yatazar was, you understand, bring it out. Like, you understand how the Christian church, you understand, those pastors are going to lose their place, you understand? And Commander General YAHANNA has been, you understand, prophesizing about that as well. Like, an example we could see in Haiti right now, you see in Haiti, you have these pastors where they're being kidnapped in Haiti. You understand? They kidnapped, their family kidnapped. And why? Because you understand, all this time you've been lying to the people, you've been, you understand, robbing to the people. The people, preachers. Understand? So like they are right for kidnapping those preachers if those preachers gonna say don't keep the law. You understand? Because kidnapping a preacher, you understand, your brother, you understand, it's against the law. So you telling the people, you understand, they're not supposed to keep the law. So they could kidnap you, they could kill you, they could kill your family, and so on. You understand? And this is what's going on in Haiti right now. You understand? It's a lot.
Salakia, I'll have to watch some of those classes to get caught up on what's going on in Haiti. Because that's powerful what you guys are bringing out, what you brothers are bringing out. And this is why everybody needs to be listening to the I.S.U.P.K. Like what the brothers are bringing out in Haiti is so powerful. You understand? Commanding General YAHANNA has been saying this for such a long time. Like, the black Christian church is dead. It is over. Everybody is leaving the church. And these wicked pastors have so much to answer for. Which is why these pastors are going missing in Haiti. You understand? Like the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community, they have given charge to these pastors to help them make good decisions over their lives. They go to these pastors for guidance when things are going wrong in their lives. They're going to these pastors for advice on what jobs to get, what not to get, where to live, where not to live. If it's right if I lay down with this woman or not. Like, we go to our Christian pastors for guidance. And these pastors have failed us. They have failed the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community. I remember hearing this story of this one pastor. He was talking about addictions. And Salak, if I could just paraphrase it and kind of summarize it, this pastor, he himself was addicted to coke. he had a coke addiction, and he was explaining how the Most High, or Salaki, he was explaining how God was using him to minister to people who had drug addictions, and the reason that that God would not take away his drug addiction was so that he could relate to the people that had drug addictions. And this is the kind of nonsense that these false leaders, false prophets, this is the kind of nonsense going on in these communities, in our communities. That we got to run far away from the Christian church. And it's a beautiful thing to see Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans waking up. I saw Salagi, I'm not going to say it was the natives, but you saw after all these different bodies were being found in these residential schools. You saw churches all over Canada being burnt to the ground.
Khan.
Right, which is such a beautiful thing to see our people waking up saying, this is not the place of God. Whatever this is not something I want to be a part of. Right? Wisdom of Solomon 6:17 says the beginning of wisdom is a love of discipline. It's learning to love following orders. You understand? You're a sister in this truth. Learn to love saying Kanada wan Khan to your husband. You understand? That brother that's over you is in charge of you. He is in charge of healing you, of cleaning you with the word, showing you how to be righteous. It says in Isaiah, taking away your reproach, making you righteous in the sight of the Most High. Learn to take orders from your husband. Men, learn to take orders from the men above you. Learn to do everything that Christ commands you to do and not be a coward about it. Not make excuses to sin. Not making excuses to hate your people. Yeah. So let's drop that video. We'll run through a couple. Let's run through a couple verses. If you could, Brock, y'all grab Matthew 16, verse 25.
Khan. This is Matthew chapter 16, verse 25.
Salaki, one sec. Let me just get there with you. Go ahead.
For whosoever will save his life shall lose it.
Khan, this is such a powerful thing. Whoever will save his life shall lose it. You saw Abraham tell Abimelech that this is my sister. trying to save his life, giving that cowardice answer, saying, this isn't really my wife, but this is my sister. You can't have that spirit living here in Canada, living in hell, living in North and South Central America, living under this oppression. You understand? It says oppression makes a wise man mad. You understand? You can't be lukewarm in this truth, or the Most High will spit you out. You got to keep the laws. You got to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Can't make excuses not to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. You can't be selfish in this truth. You can't be trying to save your own life. Can't be trying to make your life better. You can't be about you. Like every pastor has taught you to do your entire life. Walk into the church and ask the pastor, what can I get out of this? What can I get from praying to God? What can I get from being this way? Christ said, I come to serve. You got to be ready to give up your life. Keep reading.
And whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it.
Come. You want the king? You want the keys to the kingdom of heaven? You got to be willing to give up your life. You got to be willing to sacrifice. You got to stop being so damn selfish. Just worrying about yourself. Start worrying about your nation. Start worrying about your family. Start worrying about the effects of selling drugs to another man. Start worrying about the effects of being a drug addict. How that affects my people. We can't be out here just thinking about ourselves. We got to be ready to lose our life. Lose our lives for our people. All right, drop that, Brock. Y'all to grab John 15 and verse 12.
Kawakan.
For whosoever will save his life shall lose it. You try to save your own life, you will lose your life. That's something that we got to remember. Where
This
we
is
at? John chapter 15. We'll start at verse 12, I believe. Yeah, John 15 and verse 12. Go ahead.
the book of John, chapter 15, verse 12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you.
This is my commandment. What is Creflo Dollar sitting there telling you that the devil wants you to keep the commandments? Creflo Dollar, your Christian pastor told you the devil wants you to keep the commandments. You understand? These pastors are wicked, man. And it says, if a ruler hearkeneth to lies, both him and the people that follow him are both evil, both wicked. Not only is Creflo Dollar wicked, but everybody following him is just as wicked. Going around teaching that the devil wants you to keep the laws. Christ said, this is the commandment. This is my commandment. There are rules for you to follow. Christ said, you need to obey me. This is a command. This is my order. Read that verse again.
Kawakan, John, chapter 15, verse 12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you.
Come. That you love like I love. What do they say? What's that saying in the world? What do they say? What would Jesus do? Christians walking around with that bracelet on your arm. What would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? Jesus wouldn't be trying to save his own life. Jesus would be sacrificing his life. Because he understands that those that try to save their lives will lose it. But you want the keys to the kingdom, you got to be ready to sacrifice your life. You understand? Christ gave his life for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And you got to love your people just as he loved his people. It's a commandment to obey him. It's a commandment to love like he loved. And Christ was perfect. He kept all the laws, statutes, and commandments. You better believe he kept the Passover. He celebrated the slaughter of the Egyptians. He celebrated the wars that the nation of Israel won. He wasn't selling drugs to his people. He wasn't eating pork. He wasn't smoking 2 ounces of weed every day. He was going to war for his people. Keep reading.
Verse 13. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
Grab 1 John chapter 4 and verse 20.
Khan.
It says, greater love hath no man than this. There is no greater love. There is no greater thing that you can do for another black, Hispanic, or Native American. That is to lay down your life for your friends. Lay down your life for your kinsmen. Lay down your life for George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland. Lay down your life for your people. You can't do that if you're smoking weed all day. You're smoking 2 ounces of weed every day. We're not going to be ready to go to war for anybody. You understand? Christ said to love your brothers like I love them. Lay down your life for your people. Give everything you have for your people. Sacrifice everything you have for your people. There's no greater love than that. You want your marriage to work? You want your marriage to be successful? Stop being so goddamn selfish. Stop worrying about what you can get. Stop worrying about what your wife does for you. Worrying about what your wife does and doesn't do for you. Start focusing on what you do for your wife, or what you do for your wives. Start focusing, you're a woman, start focusing on what you do for your husband. Sitting there complaining about what your husband doesn't do for you. My husband doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, doesn't do this, doesn't do that. That is not love. Love is what you give. Stop being so damn selfish. Right? Go ahead and read, Raquel.
Like it's 1 John chapter 4, verse 20, you said?
That's what I want. 4 and 20. Khan.
1 John chapter 4, verse 20. If a man say, I love God, and hated his brother, he is a liar.
He is a liar. Somebody says, I love God, but they don't love their people. They are a liar. You can't love God if you don't love your husband. You can't love God if you don't love your wife. You can't love God if you're a drug addict. You can't love God if you're selling drugs to your people. Anybody who says, I love God, but they don't love their brother, they don't love the man that's beside them, he is a liar. Keep reading.
For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he had not seen?
John, you can't love the person beside you that you see every day. How are you supposed to love the Most High? How are you going to claim you love the Most High? Like Christ said, the law hinges on these two commands: to love the Most High with all your heart, your soul, and to love your neighbor as yourself. It's the same thing. These laws are the same thing. It's the same law. And it covers all the laws in the Bible. Loving your people is loving God, and loving God is loving your people. The Christian church doesn't teach that. You understand? You got to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. You got to learn to be disciplined. Learn to obey the Most High. Do what He says. That's how we build this nation. Drop that, grab Deuteronomy 27:1.
Khan.
We'll get that. Yeah, Deuteronomy 27, we'll start at verse 1.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27, verse 1. And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day.
You want to love another Black, Hispanic, or Native American man, you need to keep all the commandments. All the commandments that Moses told the children of Israel to keep, you got to keep all of them. You can't keep one and not the other. You understand? You can't be going around always being a man of your word, walking around never lying to your people, walking around with your head up because you never slept with another man's wife. And then in the secret, you're going around selling drugs to your people. Moses said, you got to keep all the laws of God, all the laws, statutes, and commandments. You understand? And not make excuses to keep them. Let's jump down to verse 20.
Khan. Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 20. Cursed be he that lieth with his father's wife.
Wow. It's a disgusting thing. Can't be going around sleeping with your father's wife. Jump down to the next verse.
Verse 21. Cursed he be that lieth with any manner of beasts.
God. Some twisted stories out there. You see Cave Becky going around sleeping with that horse. Don't follow the ways of the heathen. The things they do are disgusting. Salakia, I saw a video. Good night. Salakia. Let me pull up this last video. See if I can find it real quick. Well, it might take me too long. Salakia. I saw this one video where this brother, this This brother and sister, they were married to each other. And they were joking around in the video and claiming to be brother and sister. Saying, yeah, we have the same dad, so what? And then they go on to kiss. And then some devil made a video, a follow-up video, and said, she started complaining in the video saying, oh, these black people are stealing our way of life. They steal everything from us. They steal our culture, and now they're stealing incest from us. This is something that we do. So lucky. What were you saying, Brock-Ella?
Not a lot on.
Oh, con. So lucky. It'll take me too long to find that video right now. But read that verse again.
Khan. Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 20. Cursed be he that lieth with any manner of beasts.
Con. Don't follow your oppressor. You understand? Don't follow their ways. They want to sleep with their father's wife. Leave them be. The Most High deal with them. This isn't your culture. This isn't your wisdom. You saw what Moab did. These two daughters slept with their father. You could just look up Salaki. What is that? That's not. What do they call it? Salakia. Words off the tip of my tongue, but look up. It's not Down syndrome. What do they call it? Mongoloidism.
Kawakan.
Look up Mongoloidism. See what the sons and daughters of Moab done. Slakia, what's that other one? Oh, Khan, sir. You understand? These other nations, they do all different types of filthy, disgusting things. Because they don't have laws, statutes, and commandments. They don't have rules. They don't have guidelines. They don't have morals. They don't have a standard of living. They do all types of disgusting things. They worship rocks. They worship water. They worship time. You understand? They come up with all these different gods. They worship the sun, the moon. They sleep with animals. You had Elam. You had the East Indians. They were throwing their gods out into the river because they were saying it failed them when COVID-19 hit. They're saying their gods aren't protecting us. These other nations do all sorts of disgusting things. They worship anything. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, that's not our culture. These ways of life, that's not for us. Being a drug dealer, that's what the Egyptians do. Don't follow the Egyptians. It's the ways of another nation. Your oppressor's a drug dealer. Don't follow his ways. Don't envy him. Why? Following your oppressor just destroys your people. They passed laws saying that homosexuality is okay. That a man can lay down with a man can get married to another man. And all these men secretly are dying of HIV and AIDS, dying of some sexually transmitted disease. Don't follow your oppressor. He's a gangster, he's a dope dealer, he's a drug dealer. Don't follow his ways. These things destroy our people. Yeah. So with that, we're gonna end Tuesday night brotherhood class. Let's clap it up. Salakia, Officer Adia or Officer Brachial, if there's anything you want to add, go ahead.
Allah, the one.
La, go out.
Come. All right, so make sure before the class is ended, I'll get the sign out links in the chat. All right, make sure you sign out before the class ends. We're gonna give the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, start out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves with the world. They need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find it in Numbers 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashra means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests is not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. We got the Lord's Passover coming up, which is on Friday, April the 15th. All right, get a hold of your camp leader if you need more information on that. Again, check the comments. We also have a link. Make sure you pay your Passover fee. All right, you got any questions, get a hold of your camp leader. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. With that said, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israelite Madium, which means stand. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Amajim Shabbat. Amajim. Barak. Yahweh Shemel Shabbat Katham. Yadyamatah. Sar. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Amajim Shabbat. Amajim. Barak. Yahweh Shamar Olafan Bashim Shah. Yadyamatah. Class dismissed. All right. Again, make sure you hit those sign in and sign out links. All right. Shalom, Israel.
I just wanna see my enemies fall. Yeah. Hey, look, I just wanna bow. Told my niggas stand tall, cause we about to go and get it out. Nigga, I just wanna bow. Look at them 20s where they crawl. I've been praying that my enemies fall. Nigga, I just wanna bow. And I hope you bow too. And that be why I gotta keep it true. Nigga, I just wanna bow. Just give me what I'm due. Let my enemies see the living proof, Lord. I just wanna bow. Trying to build my own city, homie. Enough room to put my niggas on it. Just start a couple business on it. Fuck any heathen, never shitted on me. Yeah. Public housing we done lived through. Trying to put that in my rear view. Gold roads, what I still do. I can see the picture with a clear view. Gotta separate the snakes. And all you fuck niggas that's gon' hate. Daily pray to God I don't catch another case. But that's a small risk that I feel I gotta take. Only certain niggas, they gon' feel this. Still deliver verses on that real shit. If I get a couple million, I'ma bust this shit down with these children. I just wanna bow. Told my niggas stand tall, cause we about to go and get it